you being a musician, let's talk about your journey of becoming a musician and what other little projects you've had over the years.
Oh God. So I started singing when I was really young. I don't sing anymore. Part of that is because I had COVID twice. It killed my range. So every time I try to sing, I get angry. Some of it has come back, but I mean, that pandemic friggin' ruined a lot of people in multiple different ways. Luckily, it was just a couple octaves that I lost, and most of my high end. I can still do all the low stuff, but my days of like Evanescence and Veruca Salt are done. Um, but hey, I can still do like Hole and Sheryl Crow and shit like that. So that's kind of cool. Definitely can still rock the Stevie Nicks. So I started singing, and then when I was around 12, I started playing guitar. I never got good. Um, and I still play occasionally, but I just never really got super serious with it. I did have a couple projects where I played guitar. Um, in high school, I had a folk duet. I don't really want to say folk. It was just like acoustic emo bullshit. Um, with my best friend from high school, and we did some shows, and then we got like a full band together that did nothing. And then we played our last show. Uh, it was 2014. It was actually a Kurt Cobain tribute show for the 20th anniversary of his passing. Which that was a good night.
Yeah.
It's the night I met my husband. So, and then I stopped playing for a long time. During the pandemic, I got bored. We had a bass in the house. I picked it up, started noodling with it, and it came easier than anything else. Even I love it more than I ever loved singing.
Wow.
So it's bass is my instrument. Um, Now when it comes to the Minges, um, my drummer Eric and I worked at Guitar Center together 15 years ago
Like
ish.
a long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. And Eric for years, whether it was guitar or singing, has been trying to get me to do something with him project wise. And I've always been like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't want to do music anymore. Um, and about a year ago, we were out drinking as he and I tend to do. Um, and he was like, "How's bass going?" And I'm like, "It's going good." And um, I made the joke that I wanted to bring back the word minge because it's such a good word. And we were shit-faced drunk at a PT's in the middle of like January, and he got receipt paper, drew out our logo, and was like, "I'm gonna get a couple people." And then I didn't think he was serious. Within a week, he's like, "Hey, I called Joe Mitkowski from Stagnetti's Cock." And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "Do you know any female vocalists?" I'm like, "Maybe." I reached out to Roxy, who is so busy
Right.
between Roxy Gun Project and Crimson Riot. Um, I joked with Chris about it, Chris Reject, joked with a couple other friends. And then we ended up bringing in Shannon Hoffa. Um, she really got us off the ground. We just started doing a bunch of covers. About 5 weeks into it, though, unfortunately, she did have to drop.
Mm-hmm.
So my husband, Dominic, he came in for a couple practices just so that way we could keep practicing. We got offered a gig, which didn't end up happening. But right after that gig fell through, like mid-May, I would say, we brought in Jesse. Huh?
Last year.
Last year, yeah. We brought in Jessie. She learned all the songs, and she came in, and after one practice, me and Joe and Eric just looked at each other and we were like, "Yeah, that's the person."
Yeah.
So before practice was even over that day, like I think she went to take a piss or something, and we were like, "Yeah, she's in." And we told her, like, you're in the band, you're official. Courtney did our photos like 2 weeks after that. We got offered a gig in August, started writing our own material in July. And so August was our first gig of last year. We played that with Negative Nancy's, Crimson Riot, and War Peggy. So we opened that up, and within 24 hours, we had tons of people hitting us up to book more shows. We did 9 shows between August and December of last year, which is insane.
Yeah, for local acts, definitely.
Yeah. So we've been writing, and we just recorded last month. We recorded a 3-song demo with Cody Levitt over at Asteroid M Records. It sounds fantastic. We have not put it out yet. One of the songs you can hear on comp. It is a radio edit of our song Jiffy Lube that we've gotten a lot of really good feedback for, but we're working on getting that out, writing the rest of the record, and we're booked currently until August. So good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
sorry, that was really long-winded.
No, it's perfect. And you recently played in New York City? Like, what was that about?
Okay, so people in Vegas know the Double Down Saloon, happiest place on earth. We've played Double Down numerous times. Eric has been in bands out here since the mid 90s. So he's friends with everybody in the scene. Joe's been playing out here in Stagnetti's Cock. He's also in the Sciatics, and he was in Suburban Resistance for a while. I mean, Joe's played with everybody for the past 15 years. So those guys are really close with Moss, who owns Double Down. And then Double Down has a site in New York that just celebrated their 18th anniversary down in the Bowery. It's literally around the corner from where CBGB used to be. And Eric is really good friends with Dirk Vermin. Dirk's band No Moss goes out there every year to play the anniversary party. So we were asked if we would be down to come out. We went. It was a quick turn and burn. We got in Friday evening, played Saturday night, left Sunday morning. But the crowd was really great there. It's really receptive. A lot cleaner than Vegas's Double Down, which was kind of weird. Like, we walked in Friday night to have beers with everybody, and I was like, Eric's like, what do you think? I'm like, it's really clean. Like, this is weird. Like, do they have ass juice here? They do. Is it the same? Like, it was a little too clean.
I always thought that Double Down is what should be named Dive Bar, because dive bar, like, yeah, it's divey, but it ain't Double Down divey,
I'm not scared to talk shit on Dive Bar because they'll never book us. That's been made quite clear because of some drama. But you know what? I really don't care, because they're not a very supportive place to be. And even though it may look clean, it's not. It's seedy.
Oh, no, I mean, I believe that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like visually, at least,
Oh, visually, yeah.
Visually, like, you walk into Double Down and it's like impressively grimy, like. But it looks awesome though.
There's also like no lights in the dive bar, so you can't see how grimy it really is.
True.
Although I did hear that they got a new stage and a new sound system, but
wow, look at that.
Yeah, I won't step foot in the place, so I wouldn't know.
So, when is I mean, obviously, I've already listened to your songs, but when is the official release?
Well, being in a band, and anybody who's in a band knows this, it is like herding cats. There's a running joke among us that I'm the Johnny Ramone of the group, because I am so like I run all the business, I do all the booking. Like, Eric has the bank account, but I handle all the P&L. Joe makes fun of me because I have spreadsheets for literally everything. But we got to get everybody registered on like, BMI and ASCAP and all of the important stuff on the back end. Once that's done, I think everything takes a couple weeks. So I would anticipate the EP being out by end of April. I don't have an official date, but I would say by end of April, we could probably get this thing on streaming.
Cool.
Yeah, we're hoping to do physical copies, but we're trying to see what way we want to go because, CDs are kind of obsolete at this point, but people still like having something that they can hold.
Yeah.
Vinyl's always cool, but it's expensive.
Hey, I mean,
But
you could do like
cassettes are making a comeback.
a small CD run, and then for
Yeah.
another thing is like tapes are coming back too, strangely.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like cassettes coming back is really, really weird, but I'm all for it. So
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Um, I mean, obviously, like anyone from our generation is going to appreciate anything like that coming around, So
yeah, yeah. We could be really, really weird. And I mean, I was all about bringing back the word minge, and I think that we're doing it in the Vegas scene. So maybe we'll bring back 8 tracks. Who knows?
I mean, a
That'll be an
collectible
us
8 track
thing.
would be pretty sweet,
Mhm.
Why not?
Yeah,
See,
why not?
that's the thing. Why not?
Why not? The only person in town that probably still has one is our good friend Joe String Bean Calitri, but that's okay.
I mean, he would. So, love you, JoJo. Oh, Calitri, that character.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? All things considered, he's doing excellent too. So
He's doing fantastic. His band, that kid's constantly gigging. I mean, I couldn't be more proud of him.
I love
It's a good feeling seeing your friends succeed, in the stuff that they want to do.
it.
So
Yeah, I mean, he's been out there for 11, 12 years or something. So,
mhm.
and like he was always somewhat active, but like
Mhm.
lately, like last couple of years, especially like post COVID, like he's just
Yeah,
knocking it out. And I'm like, dude, fuck yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Um, so before we talk about the zine stuff,
Mhm.
just talk to me about the Vegas scene in general right now. What are you noticing? Like what's happening? How different is it now compared to back in the day? All that kind of stuff.
How far back in the day are we going?
Well,
Are we going back 10 years? Are we
okay.
going back 20 years?
We've known each other 19 years now, so let's talk about like that mid 2000s to now kind of thing.
It's really interesting the way that it's evolved. I think Vegas has always had a lot of potential, but our scene has always really been either booming or really dry. I think in the last, not counting the year that we were out with COVID, where no one could gig and we were all just kind of like a lot of people were writing, a lot of people broke up, a lot of people moved. Um, I think that the last like 5 years, we've had a really strong scene overall. Going back to when like you and I met, we had a lot more venues.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, a lot
we
more
ain't finished shit
opportunity
now.
to see, yeah, a lot more opportunity to see music, I think. But the scene itself, depending on what faction you were in, was oversaturated with the same like 5 bands in each scene. Um, and then you reached like the 2010s and a lot of LA moved here. So you had either like your straight up rock and roll bands or you had death metal and the doom metal and stuff like that. Or you had the hip hop scene, which has been like the most consistent, I think, of all of them. We've always had a good hip hop scene here. Um, but you really didn't get a lot of punk stuff. Again, it was like the same 5, 6 bands that you were seeing at Double Down. In the last couple years, though, I think everybody's kind of reached that point where no one feels like they have to stay in their sandbox. You can go to the Usual Place, which is a newer venue, and see any genre of music on any given night. Same with like Triple B. Having the Punk Rock Museum is, they do shows there sometimes, which is really cool. Even Vamped now is really starting to kind of expand. So yeah, I would say that the scene is in a good place overall. It doesn't feel as cutthroat as it used to be. It kind of, there's always been that I want you to do better but not better than me thing. And there is still some of that. It's noticeable who does it, but it's a very supportive overall scene, especially the punk scene. I mean, everybody networks with everybody. If there's somebody's coming from out of town that, you know, this person knows the band that's coming in and they think that these guys would be good, they reach out. Like, it's a really, there's a lot of camaraderie right now in Vegas, which is good.
Yeah, because there wasn't for a long time.
No.
There really wasn't.
No.
And you know, one thing I've definitely always noticed about the Vegas scene is like, well, I mean, any music scene really, but you know, Vegas especially was like, it was always hot and cold and hot and cold and hot and cold and up and down and up and down. And like, not a lot of bands have lasted for more than a few years, you know?
Yeah.
And for the ones that have, like somehow they've still been affected. Like, like the guys in Dim, for instance, you know, like Wes and Calvin's, like they're still a band, but they haven't really been that active for a while now.
Yeah.
And like they're kind of picking back up, but like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like it's hard for a band to last longer than 5, 6 years there, because you play the same venues over and over and over again, and then all the venues shut down, and then there's nowhere to play. And like, okay, so the same bands are going to play the same like 2 or 3 venues, and then there's nowhere to go from there, you know, and it sucks.
Yeah.
And
we've gotten more venues. There are a lot more than there were even a couple years ago. But I completely agree with you, because I mean, I've seen it in my own household. You know, my Dominic is a musician. Wicked Garden was around for 13 years total, I think. Like, he was in it for the last 10. And I mean, I saw those guys play to full rooms. I've seen them play to just me.
Yeah.
And you know, it kind of, that's the crappy thing. And when you've got nowhere to play, it makes it really difficult. So he even, you know, started his own thing, and it's been really successful. But like the Wicked Garden guys, they get together, they jam, they have fun, they still enjoy doing what they do. But they haven't been active at all. That's the one thing, like with the Minges, that is a little scary in a way. Like, I'm trying to enjoy the constant gigging, because I know at some point the gigs are going to dry up.
Yeah.
Unless we do tours or mini runs here and there, which we could do down the line. We've talked about it. We have places that have reached out that want us to come, that we could easily do like a week tour and make it work. But the problem with it is, you know, Jesse's a single mom. Eric's got a day job. I have a day job. Joe has a day job. I mean, Joe and I both work from home, so we could probably easily work from a van or a hotel room. But for Eric and Jesse, it would be a little bit more difficult. So we'd really have to look at logistics. Because like at the end of the day, my kids are grown. Joe doesn't have kids, but Eric and Jesse both have young kids. So um, even though we're having fun with it and it's great and we love it, like family's gonna have to come first. But if we can swing it, we will.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean,
And with you especially, having a day job, HR kind of stuff,
yeah.
being a musician, family, and then
Mhm.
having a magazine too, and yeah, it's a lot,
Yeah. Yeah. And I tend to take on more than I can chew and say yes to everything. And then have days like today where I hung out with my mom all day and my drummer messaged me and he's like, "Hey, you want to get lunch?" I'm like, "Dude, I schedule my friggin' downtime like weeks in advance. I literally have like four calendars around my house because that's the only way I can keep my brain straight." Um, so yeah, no, it's a lot. I do way too much, but I love it.
I understand. I burned myself out a long time ago, and I figured out a way to still be active, but not overdo it because I was overdoing it for years, just consistently. And finally, like my body told me, like you got to stop. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, my body tries. I fight it. You'd think between surgeries and like this when we got back from New York, I was so sick. So sick. And I haven't been sick in a while, not like that. And even Dominic's like, "This is your body telling you to stop." And I'm like, "I don't have time to stop. Like, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pop zinc and Dayquil and power through." And that's what I do though. I can't not do shit. Just can't. I'm
Uh,
so hardwired for it.
so tell me, um, tell us, tell the world, um,
So ominous.
before ZrockR,
Hmm.
obviously your mom had done things over the years, and hadn't you done a zine or been part of something beforehand? Like,
Yep.
so, so how did all of that happen?
Oh God. So mom, Sylvia, my co-founder of ZrockR, editor of the magazine, um, she was the PR person for Las Vegas music scene in the 90s. Um, that's actually, I published my first article when I was 9, I want to say, because I happened to go see the Temptations. And uh, their editor asked if I wanted to write something up for it, and I did, and it was cool. So that was my first like official published thing. And then when Las Vegas music scene disbanded, um, a few people involved with it, my mother included, um, put together Vegas Sounds, that had a couple runs, before, with print, it's hard. Back then, this was, before the days of internet and everything. So, well, I don't want to say before the days, like you had AOL and
Yeah.
shit like that, but building your own site and the way that we have the internet today, it was not the same. Like e-zines were not really a thing.
No.
So money ran out. But luckily they tried to keep it going, created a website. And that's kind of where you and I met in a way. Like I remember when you and I met, it was at La Tigra, wasn't it? We went
Mm-hmm.
at and I believe I reviewed that show. Um, so I mean, I've been doing this as far as the writing thing for half my life. at this point.
Mhm.
It's a labor of love. Like people ask me all the time, they're like, "Oh, how much money do you make?" I'm like, I fucking lose money on this every year. Are you kidding
Yeah,
me?
exactly.
Um, like, no, there's no money to be made in this.
No.
We're not Rolling Stone, um, which no, no shade, but also thank God. Because I don't know if you've read some of their stuff lately, but I'm like, who's approving this? Um,
I
and
usually
who's
scroll past.
researching? Like,
Like,
it's
yeah.
just, but you know, we're by fans for fans is how we've always kind of did it. We all do it as a labor of love. You know that. I mean, you were a part of the ZrockR team when we started, and with us for a few years. But basically, with ZrockR, Mom and I just kind of got sick of working with other people in a way, and we were like, we want to do this for us and just have fun with it, and not really like there were a lot of points in the beginning where it's like, let's make this a business, let's do this, let's sell ads. And it just, when you throw that on it, it doesn't become fun anymore. Um, you know, you would know as well, like you build connections with these people over the years and doing what you're doing, and you build friendships with them.
Mhm.
And yes, you keep a level of professionalism. Um, but like if the love's not there, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
Especially since we don't make any money off of this. It's a way for everybody to kind of hone their skills, whether that be writing or photography, um, communication, being a better musician, because you're listening to all different types of stuff. And half of us on staff now are musicians
Yeah.
and in bands, which makes it a bit difficult at times for coverage, but you know, if everybody's gigging, but we make it work.
Yeah. For
So
sure.
that's kind of a roundabout way of how I got involved. So it's in my blood. Like I've been like this since I was young. So,
So when you guys had asked me to, be a part of ZrockR,
mhm.
of course I had no experience in any of that, but it was always something that I wanted to do. So of course
You
I was
did in a
like,
way though.
kinda.
I
I
mean,
mean,
you'd been at shows with me, you wrote your Facebook and your MySpace posts about shit, like you blogged
yeah,
for as they call it nowadays,
just
blogged, but you know,
it was less official.
yeah, yeah.
And but again, I'd already established relationships with musicians and other people, and
Mhm.
it was like I was doing everything except utilizing it in an official capacity. It's like, so when you guys gave me the opportunity, it was like, fuck yeah. Like now I can like actually like focus it on something.
Yep.
And um all of my first experiences of covering a show and interviewing people, and even um, doing photography for shows, like that was all my first time doing it. And I mean, obviously it worked out pretty well. So
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because like I love that. I love watching you grow and doing your own thing. And what's crazy is that like I don't know if it's the HR recruiter in me or what, but like we've been a springboard for a lot of folks. Like Courtney had never really done this. And now she's being freaking amazing. Um
now you want to talk about someone that needs to be making money. Like she needs to be like global.
yeah. Someone needs to take that girl on tour. Like
Come on, somebody.
somebody, anybody. She's fantastic. But like we've had, you know, like Nikki out in LA, she reached out to us years ago and was like, "Hey, I've done a couple like blogs or something. I'm a amateur photographer." Now she's going on tour with Armored Saint
Fuck it.
as their tour photographer.
That's all it
Alex,
takes.
yeah, Alex Zayas, may he rest in peace. He is so fucking missed.
Hmm.
Um, his first big thing was with us, when he shot Ghost, and I had known Alex as an amateur photographer for years. Like he was doing like landscape, and I was like, how do you feel about shows? Um, like everybody we've pulled in has gone on to do such great things, whether they've gone off on their own like you, or stayed and just grown. I mean, it's so cool to see. And it's really great to have met all these cool people along the way, not just musicians, but just like the people that we work with. Like I love going into a photo pit at a festival and or a
Everyone's your
regular
friend.
show. Yeah, and everyone's your friend. Like punk rock bowling is like I always make the joke when I work punk rock bowling. I'm like, oh, it's like a family get together because everybody knows everybody and we only see each other once a year.
Love it. It's like a family reunion.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, and in my case, like I had all those experiences via ZrockR.
Yeah.
But I never learned like the back end of it. I didn't know how to do all the things I need to do, like how to contact people and set everything up and all that. So I just started winging it, and
Yeah.
9 years later, I'm still winging it.
We all are. It's not just you. Man, I still like have to like research who is in charge of who and all these different things and like reach out and hope that my email looks professional enough. But yeah, no, I mean, but you've done so good in the last, has it really been 9 years?
9 years.
Shit.
Yeah, next month. Well, like 2.5, 3 weeks from now will be 9 years. So it's crazy.
That is nuts, but that is amazing. Like, I'm so proud of you. Seriously, like I know that like when you left, it was rough. Because
it wasn't
you were the
just a
first
professional
one.
thing. It was
Yeah,
a personal thing too,
it
and
was personal, and that was the thing is like learning how to set like you really taught me how to like separate that personal from the professional. Um, because like I felt like it was like a personal front and it wasn't. You had to do your own thing and you were meant to do your own thing and you're fucking killing it. So,
but I needed you to be able to do it. So, it, it was it was all just part of the adventure. It all had to be.
yeah,
So
for sure.
I've always, even when things weren't good, I still always gave my credit to what you guys did and Zero.
Yeah.
So
There was always, even when things were rough, there was always still that mad level of respect. Like I, I never got mad if I saw you at a show or anything. I would just be like, "Oh, Marcus is here," and I'd always be like, "I should go say hi." I don't want to make him mad, but we got through it.
we're still here. So
Yeah.
I haven't been to a show since before I left.
No.
I went to so I went to Tesla, and then Saliva and Drowning Pool, and then Power Man, and then that was the last stuff that I saw. So
All good shows though.
haven't been to anything since I left.
You gotta fix
Which,
that.
like it's nice to get a break.
Mm-hmm.
At least your ears,
Yeah.
But I keep up with. I got the concert calendar. I'm always looking at what's happening and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So even though I haven't been doing shows, I've been doing a fuckload of these.
Yeah. You gotta keep it going.
This is number 51 right here. So,
And I've been seeing the ones that you've been doing, and like, like I saw you talk to Richard Patrick,
awesome.
which is he's such a doll.
That was awesome. That
Yeah.
was one of those, like, I wasn't nervous, but when he popped onto the screen, I was just like, holy fucking shit. It's like, is that really him? So,
Yeah.
um, and again,
Uh,
it's like what we were talking about earlier. Like, as long as you still feel something, that's a good thing. So, my next one, possibly, um, so it popped up in my email a couple days ago, and I'm waiting for the response because they came to me.
mhm.
I didn't inquire. They came to me. Paul Diano has new stuff coming out, and they like it. Would you like to interview him? And I was like, yeah, because
No, I'm gonna pass on that one. Yeah,
like
that's
I
awesome.
in February or like the end of January, I did Dennis Stratton, who was also on the first Iron Maiden. It's like within a couple months, do like 2 original Iron Maiden members. Are you fucking with me? Like, of course, I don't fucking do that. Like
That's fucking awesome. That
so.
is so cool.
Uh,
I'm praying because they're coming here in October, and like I was mentioning to Dom the other day because I have taken a step back from ZrockR a little bit, just because there is so much going on with the band, that I had to. I was really starting to burn myself a bit. Like I'm still obviously involved, and I still jump in, um, to do fill-ins and stuff, but I said to Dom, I'm like, I've really like shot everybody and seen everybody that I want to see at this point in my life. Been going to shows since I was 8, so I'm 33. I'll be 34 this year. I've seen everybody, but Maiden's coming in October, and I would give all 10 of my fingers to
yeah.
shoot Iron Maiden, like to have fucking Steve Harris and Nico McBrain and Bruce Dickinson in front of my lens. Like, oh my God, I could die happy. Like, God could kill me immediately after I finished editing those, and I'd be like, I'm good. Like, I did everything. I did everything. So,
Did you ever get to shoot crew?
no,
No. Okay.
I did
Obviously, I
not
know
ever
you've
get to
seen them.
shoot
So.
crew. Um,
Did you get to do John Corabi?
I did.
Okay.
I photographed Karabi at Vamped in 2015, I want to say. Um,
Is it when he
but
was doing the crew album?
he did some of the crew album, yeah, and it was all acoustic, which was really cool. Um, and that's a fantastic album. A lot of people shit on it, but it's a really good record. I don't think that it should have been a crew record, so to speak, but it was a really good record. And he definitely brought a different element to Motley Crue, but no, I never got to photograph them. Um, I wish I would have, but now, like, even every time they tour and they've come here, and no disrespect to John Five, John is a sweetheart of a guy, a fantastic guitarist. um but I can't. I saw them 17 times in the 10 to 12 years that I had the opportunity to see them, and I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl. I saw the final Vegas show. I saw the beginning of the final tour in LA. Um, saw both residencies here in Vegas. Caught them every time they were here, with the exception of one show. I did not see them with Poison when they were here in 2007, I want to say, or 2006. That was the only one I missed. Um, but I caught them every other time, and I just I said my goodbyes. Crew's dead to me, so I just can't bring myself to do it. Unless Nikki Six showed up at my front door, put a camera in my hand, and was like, "You're shooting tonight," I probably wouldn't do it.
Crazier things have happened.
That's true. That's true. Like Richard Patrick emailing me and being like, "Hey, I'm not a big fan of this photo you took of me. Can I see the other ones?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay. Yeah, here's all of my photos. Like, take whatever you want, dude. Like, you don't want me to publish something, you tell me." Yeah, crazy things have happened for sure.
I love
Being
it.
kissed by CC DeVille on my 16th birthday. Um, Lots of weird shit has happened in my life. I have a weird fucking life.
Yeah, same. Well, I mean, a lot of it is with each other, even, and or because of
Yeah,
each other. Or,
yeah. I was
uh,
gonna say a lot of it we've been in the same vicinity when it's happened or been the catalyst for each other. So yeah, weird.
fantastic.
Fantastic and weird. I wouldn't change a goddamn thing.
So, before the cutoff, um, ZrockR is going into year 11 now,
Hmm.
and AudioVein is going into year 9.
Hmm.
And if you told us back in 2013 all the shit that we would experience and accomplish, and that we'd still be doing this, a decade plus later. Uh, I mean, obviously, like when we launched ZrockR, I mean, we planned for it to be, everything. I mean, we were
Yeah.
all in,
Yeah.
but you also never know what the future is going to be. So it was like, there was no telling where it was going to go or how far it would go, how big it would get, and
Hmm.
the fact that we're still here and still doing it, and here we are talking to each other,
Yeah.
about what we've done and are still doing, and it's
Yeah.
crazy, and it's awesome. And like I said, we're next year we'll be going on 20 years of knowing each other and all kinds of everything, highs and lows and everything in between, and the people that we've met because of each other, and
Mhm.
insane.
It's surreal. Um, and I think if you went back to like 2005, 2006, when our friendship was still very new, like if you and I had a time machine right now and went back to like La Tigra or Hot Hot Heat or Extreme Thing, um, and found us and was like, hey, you guys are going to do this thing together and then you're going to split off and you guys are both going to do amazing fucking things. We would have laughed at each other. Like I think that we probably would have believed a little bit of it, because you and I are both such driven people and have always wanted to um do this, and it's kind of just ingrained in both of us. But I think that there would have also been that heavy level of skepticism.
Yeah,
Um,
be like, what?
Yeah, and
Really?
especially for as long, like 11 years for ZrockR, 9 years for AudioVein, which is incredible. I mean, I know that you've definitely had those days, much like me, where I'm like, man, why am I doing this? Like, I
Oh yeah.
can't do this anymore. Like, I'm just gonna throw in the towel. I'm not getting anywhere. And that's always when something really cool happens, and you're like, well, shit, now I can't give up.
The first thing, so I, after my dad passed, that's when everything was just like hitting really hard, and that's when I was starting
Yeah,
to burn out,
yeah.
and that's when, so up to that point in 2018, any show that I had done, I had inquired about,
Mhm.
and the opportunity came to me to do Ghost at the joint, and of course
I was there.
I was like, hold on a minute, like I'm getting the invite to do Ghost,
Mhm.
and is that a point, because it was after my dad passed, so I was like already down, like considering everything I'm doing. I was like, do I even want to do this anymore?
Yeah.
And I mean, actually, the first thing that happened after my dad passed was the Sugar Ray thing, which was
Mhm.
a whole crazy thing.
I remember how excited you were about that, and I was like, Sugar Ray, really?
Yeah, Sugar Ray.
Your music taste has always
Hey,
surprised me.
me and Viking bonded over our love of Sugar Ray. He's the only other person I know that loves him like I do.
I'm sorry, water almost came out of my
Yeah,
nose
yeah.
because picturing Viking listening to Sugar Ray is hilarious to
He has
me.
seen them like a lot of times. I've only seen him the one time. He went with me to see them in Laughlin, so because that's how much he likes them, like. So yeah, that's a little fun fact. Um, so that was like one good thing, but then like I think it was like October of 2018 when
Mhm.
Ghost came, or September or something like that, and
I
uh,
think that was
I
October.
want to say it was October.
Yeah, because I know Alex shot that show. I know I was there because I took Dom to that show. Dom and my mom had never seen Ghost,
I
and my
knew
mom likes Ghost, but she had never seen them. So I was like, you got to see them. Like it'll totally push you over the edge. And Dominic was just standing there. He's like, I don't get it. I'm like, all right. But I mean, there's stuff that I've taken him to that he doesn't like to listen to. Like I took him to AFI in 2018 on the Blood Tour, and he was like, I would see them again. They were really fucking good. But Ghost, he
and
doesn't
that's
get it.
weird because he's a little older, and he comes from like the Kiss era and Alice Cooper and all. It's like, so why wouldn't you like at least understand it or appreciate it? Because it's like that's what it is. It's just it's theater.
It's not his thing.
It's a rock opera. That's all it
Yeah.
is.
It's funny though, because he has to look at this every single night when we go to bed. So
That's great. I love it. Yeah. So the that opportunity, that was kind of like the first real time where I was like, okay, maybe I'm doing something right if
mhm.
I'm the one that's getting the invite, because it's different when you put it in, but when it comes to you, then it's like, oh wait, like oh, it's like the audacity, but like in a good way, you're like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of like the turning point for me, where I was like, okay, well maybe I shouldn't stop, but I did start slowing down. It's like, for a long time, like I was doing the news and doing reviews and doing interviews, and like I was just like too much, just and there's nonstop. It's too much shit every day,
Yeah.
and so that I just started focusing on like the show reviews and the interviews. But then I even like I kept going to shows, um, but I stopped doing album reviews unless it was like something very specific, or if something like really good came my way and I was like, okay, like I should probably talk about this. But
Yeah.
um,
I'm,
like
I feel
it gets old.
bad. Yeah, I feel bad when it comes to album reviews because, as I'm sure you know, you get so many emails thrown at you a day of all sorts of genres, all sorts of stuff. And of course, we want to give everybody a platform, but you can't. Um, we get through as many as we can. I take some on. Courtney definitely takes some on. We have a dude in Detroit now where that's all he does. He's a journalism major, and he came to us through a coworker of mine at my day gig. And I mean, he's fantastic. He'll write about anything, but I don't want to throw, excuse me, I don't want to throw every single email at this poor kid.
Yeah.
But like, I know too, when you were talking about like being burnt out and still going to shows, still doing interviews, still doing everything. You and I both have talked about, especially during the pandemic and shortly after, um, the fact of the matter is that a lot of the people that you and I love that influenced us, they're getting older. They're leaving. Um, and you and I both have made the comment to each other like, God damn, I feel like an obituary page. Because for a while it seemed like just every single fucking day someone else was dying.
It's
That seems to have, knock on wood,
it's slowed down
slowed
a little bit
down.
lately, thankfully.
Yeah, but
Um,
for a while it started with Bowie and just kept going for a while.
oh yeah, not like the end of 2015, like the end of 2015 to like 2017, like all of 2016. That was like the worst year ever.
2016 was awful.
Like David Bowie,
2020,
Lemmy,
2021.
Scott Weiland, and then
Mhm.
fucking everyone, Prince,
Well,
George Michael, fucking like all these
you know,
massive icons just dead, dead, dead. It's like snipe them out, just kill them dead. That's
that's
what it felt
actually one of
like.
the reasons why we stopped doing the radio show. We started feeling like the angels of death on the radio, the ZrockR Magazine Live, because it happened. Scott Weiland, Chris Cornell, BB King, every single time we were on air for a while, someone would die while we were on air. And we would have to not only break the news, but completely revamp the show right in the middle of it and get songs ready. And then, for ones that we weren't on air for, like Daisy Berkowitz was a big one.
Mm.
Um, Duke Collins of the Deadlights, stuff like people like that. It seemed like we were constantly on our off time creating memorial shows. And it got to a point where
It's too much. It really
it was
is.
depressing to do. Like we stopped looking forward to doing the radio show. Because building it was difficult enough to figure out what songs you wanted to, because we didn't really ever want to play anything that you were hearing on regular radio. We really tried to do a lot of deep cuts, throw in local shit, um, and keep a theme going. So it was difficult to plan. And then when you're doing everything about people that have just died, and then you're just sitting there, just like, yeah, they died. This sucks. Here's a song they wrote about this before they died. Like it just got to be so fucking depressing. And we've talked about doing it again. And the joke always comes up like, no, we can't because we'll kill more people. Like
Yeah.
can't do it. Cornell was probably the hardest one.
Chris and then Chester.
Oh God, yeah, when
Like
Chester went, like Jesus fuck.
that was heavy, like and because of the correlation between the two. It's like
Mhm.
him doing it on Chris's birthday and then only a couple months later, and
Yeah.
just the whole. It's
Like Scott was sad, but Scott, this is gonna sound so shitty.
it was
Scott
expected.
Weiland was expected, for years. It was almost like Lane Staley in a way. Like you heard the rumors that they had died, so when they actually did, you didn't really believe them because it was just you were already numb to it. Um, but when Chris Cornell passed, I remember we got home from the radio show and Calitri texted me. Joe Calitri texted me, and it was 1 a.m. And he was like, dude, Chris Cornell died. And I was like, get the fuck out.
Yeah, don't
And
talk about that shit.
I was in my room, and because I was still living at home with my mom, and I screamed. And she was like, what's wrong? And all I said was Chris Cornell. And she was like, no. And I called Dominic, and he was like, oh, what the fuck? So it was rough. We actually interviewed Chris's brother Peter after his passing on the show, and that was really cool to get to talk to him. But uh, yeah. Anyway, back to the original point. We were both obituary pages for a while, and it was rough. And those are those moments where you want to hang your hat and say no, but then something cool happens and you're good. So
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's all relevant, because it's not often that you get to talk to people who do the same thing that you do. So
Yeah.
it's always cool to have that, because again, like especially where I am now, like fucking, I don't even know if there is a zine here, you know, like
There is now.
there is now,
We're
yeah.
there.
And I have done some research on the local scene here and the local artists and
Mhm.
the clubs and stuff. So I just haven't been out in it yet, you know. But in due time, in due time.
Yeah. When
Um,
you're not working 7 days a week.
when I'm not working 7 days a week, um, and clocking in, 70, 80 hours a week and shit, like. So, um, you know, it's weird because I mean, obviously, I've left Vegas several times,
Mhm.
and I always ended up coming back and all that. But
Yeah.
um,
I don't know. This last time that you left there, you and I covered Tesla together. Um, I've I know, being friends with you for almost 20 years, I've seen you come and go numerous times. And there was a weird feeling this time. I don't know if it's because we're older. I don't know if it's because we met at a show at House of Blues and we ended this at a show at House of Blues or what, but there was a weird finality
yeah,
that it felt like. If you come back like outside of just visiting, I would be oddly shocked. I don't
okay.
know why. It
I'm
just feels like you're done here.
I'm definitely gonna visit, of course, but
Yeah.
yeah, as far as moving back, like it it's just it's gone, like
Yeah.
I don't have that feeling of like obviously I miss people, I miss things, I miss
Mhm.
what I know,
24/7
all that,
access.
but I do miss that. I do. The DMV here is only Monday through Friday. Yeah, like, and I'm saying this because when I was at dinner earlier, I was talking about that. I was like, I still have my Nevada ID because the DMV is not open on the weekends. So I have to either take a day off work
Hmm.
or somehow go while I'm at work to the DMV.
Which is
And
impossible.
it's like, I'm just imagining if Vegas did that. They're like, oh, yeah, we're only Monday through Friday. It's like, it's already insane, and they closed one down there.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, you have like 3 million people right now, and you're going
Yeah.
to close one down, like you're going to start a riot.
Yeah. I hate the DMV. I still need to go. I got my social security card updated with my married name 2 years later. Um, and I still have to go down to the DMV and change my actual ID. But the reason why I haven't yet is because I keep traveling and I'm scared that I'm gonna go and they're gonna like take away my ID and then I'm not
You're
gonna be
not
able to get on a
real.
flight.
You're scamming.
Huh?
You're not a real person.
Yeah, so I don't know. I gotta wait until I have like at least a couple months between travel, which um this year I don't know if that's a thing.
Right.
I just got back from Detroit in February and then because I go to Detroit every quarter for my day job. And then we were in New York for March. Uh I leave for Detroit again in less than 2 weeks. And then May is way too busy. April, we've got 3 gigs in April, so I'm just way too busy. June, I go back to Detroit. July, I go to Seattle. It's too much. Too much. But I
Uh,
keep telling Dominic, I'm like, I am officially a Muzio. It's just gonna take a while.
it's all good.
Yeah.
You'll get there eventually. As will I, on some random day of the week that I can go.
Yeah. They don't do appointments out there?
I don't even know.
You should check.
Like, I know that's a Vegas thing. I don't know if that's a thing here, but I'll look.
It's worth a look.
Yeah,
Worth a look.
it's worth a look. I'll look tomorrow. Um, so to finish up, we got a Minges EP coming out soon.
Yes.
You got to check that out.
Yeah.
And I'm
It's
telling
coming
you,
out soon. Huh?
and I'm not saying to you, but I'm saying to you out there who's watching this, you're going to want to listen to it because I'm telling you that you want to. And
You're not biased at all.
I'm not being biased.
You know,
Hey, I don't
I'll
support
say
shit I don't like.
honestly, I know. And I'll be honest too, like, for someone who has only been playing bass for 4 years, who has always loved punk but never really been interested in playing it, now being enveloped in it, we've got a little bit of a little bit of something for everybody. We truly do. Like, the songs aren't overly serious. They're funny yet relatable in a way. And we just like to go and have fun with it. Joe is a fantastic guitar player. Eric is a great drummer, very straightforward, hard hitting. We've actually had people ask us, like, did you sample the kick on the record? And it's like, no, that is 100% Eric. Like I said, we recorded with Cody Levitt over at Asteroid M Records, and Cody pushes people. Like, he pushed us so hard and was so supportive, and he was like, that wasn't your best, you can do better. And we did. We knocked the 3 songs out in 3 days. And then you've got Jessie on vocal, and she's just so fun. She's got like this kind of Brody Dahl, Courtney Love kind of gravelness to her voice, but almost like in a weird sultry way. And then, then you've got me, and I'm not the best bass player in the world, but
You're holding that shit down.
Yeah, I mean, that's my job. I hold it down and I bring the groove. And I feel like you can hear a little bit of influences in there. Like, there's a little Duff McKagan in there. There's a little Simon Gallup in there. A little fucking Dee Dee Ramone. Like, there's the people that I learned from when I was learning bass. I feel like you can kind of feel it in there. So, yeah, please, when it comes out, please check us out. We are fun. Thanks.
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 So that's going on with the Minges, and then ZrockR. Of course, the website is just ZrockR.com, right? It's not ZrockR Magazine. So
yep, and we're also on Instagram. We're on Facebook. The Minges too. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and we're also on TikTok. We do have a website coming. I am trying my best to figure out how to build a fucking website. ZrockR, though, there's so much good coming. This year, we've brought on new photographers and new writers. We have somebody in Cleveland now, 2 people in LA, 1 person in Denver that also travels to Chicago. We've got our dude in Detroit. So we've got a really good, well-oiled, self-sufficient machine now. Taylor does his movie reviews and his album reviews. So we've branched out into a little bit more than just music. I mean, we got a little bit of everything. We've opened up a lot more as far as what kind of music we cover. So, there's a little something for everybody, so a lot of good.
So definitely check out ZrockR.com. There's nearly 11 years worth of stuff on there. And it goes way back, all kinds of stuff, including things I've done and written. And
I was just about to say, if you're an AudioVein fan and you want to see where Marcus started and everything, we have a little drop down. You can archive of our archives. You can go back to a month and a year. Go back to fucking August of 2013 and read some stuff.
My first interview was Biff of Saxon. Mm-hmm. And I did as I did a lot at the time. I did just audio recordings, when I would do the interviews, and I haven't found the audio yet. What I want to, like, I'm trying to look for it because it's going to be bad. Like, I know it's going to be bad.
I feel like you may have emailed it to me.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that was in October of 2013, so.
I'm totally looking at my drive now.
It's got to be bad.
I'm sure
It's pretty bad. I remember telling him after the fact that was my first interview, and I know that I was nervous. So, I mean, fuck, I didn't expect to go on their bus. Like, oh shit, okay. Like, I'm already like wired as it is. I'm sitting there on the bus, like.
Yeah. That's how I felt when I interviewed Vil Velo from him. Like, he took me backstage at the joint, and they put me in this like dark room, like backstage, and I like walk in, and there's just a single it was like something out of a porno. There was a couch, like a love seat, a table with a single candle lit, no other lights on, and there's just Vil with a cigarette. And he's like, sit down. And I'm like, okay. He's like, do you want a beer? Do you want a cigarette? I'm like, okay. I was so nervous. But he was the biggest sweetheart. Like, I've heard Biff is really, really sweet too.
Yeah, he is. And, I just interviewed him again recently. So that was kind of like a cool full circle moment,
Less nervous this time?
Less nervous, yeah. I mean, I don't really get nervous too often, so it'll happen. If I ever get to talk to Joe Elliott, I'm sure I will.
It's so funny you mentioned Joe, because I was just about to bring up my Rick Allen moment. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. But you can talk
You're
about
Rick Allen. I was like Chris Farley in front of fucking Paul McCartney. It was ridiculous.
I mean, I would take anyone from Def Leppard, of course. But I mean, Joe, it's like,
yeah,
he's the reason why I love music anyway. So
I know. I remember your love for Def Leppard.
Joe, and the ironic part of all the times I've seen Power Man and all my interactions with Spider and all that, and I still haven't met Rob. It's like, how the fuck have I not met Rob Zombie yet? Eventually. I do feel like I would probably be nervous if I ever met Rammstein.
Oh God. Yeah.
Because
I would feel intimidated.
Right?
Yeah, definitely intimidated in front of Rammstein.
I love you, Till. Yeah.
I think that like if I got to sit down with like Robert Smith, I'd probably fangirl a lot.
That'd be cool.
I'd probably annoy him. I'd be like that chick that interviewed them outside of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
He'd be like, oh, get away from me. But yeah. It's kind of hard, like and I'm sure you think of this too, like you think to yourself like, oh, who would I, get starstruck over? And it's like, oh, probably no one. But then there's ones where you're like, well, maybe this person, but maybe not. I don't know.
It depends, I mean,
they all hit differently. Like Dom and I saw Candlebox a few years ago, and we met Kevin Martin, and I don't know why I forgot how to use words. Just out of nowhere. Didn't think I would ever get nervous around Kevin Martin. He was a doll of a human, but I got nervous.
Right. I love it. I love the random times that it does kind of kick in because like I
Mhm.
don't expect it. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like,
Yeah. Like you do this all the time. Like why? Keeps you humble.
it does. We're all people, right?
We're all people, and at the end of the day, we are fans.
Diehards.
Hmm.
So time is running out for a second time. So
Yeah. Should probably cut it.
we'll
It's
cut it.
getting late there.
Yeah. So Munchkin, I love you,
I love you too. I'm
and
so proud of you.
I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
We get all that mushy stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
All right. Until
Well,
next time.
and yeah.
Thank
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
thank you for joining in.
Hmm. It's been fun. We'll do it again sometime.
Yes. We need to tell more stories.
Yes. I'm sure we have so many stories that we could have mentioned tonight, but we would be here for 5 more hours.
Absolutely. All right.
All
Good
right. I'll
night.
talk to you soon.
See you later.
Bye.